Hello, I hope that today was a good day for you. It was a very interesting day for me, but let's talk about it. So, one of the things that I enjoy about getting to know Jesus is when you have a day like today, a day when it's long, it's tiring, and you're still not done with your day. You still have to do the things, you go to work, take care of work, and then you come home. For me as a mom, when I come home, I still have to tend to my kids, give them the attention that they need, tend to my husband, tend to myself. And I also have to um, take care of like dinner, get stuff ready for the next day, any, just day to day stuff that you have to do. But this particular day, it's a little harder because you've had a long day at work, or either you've been on your feet all day, or you have been, critically thinking all day to the point where your brain literally feels like mush, but you can't stop. It has to get done, and you have been tasked with the responsibility of completing it. So these are the days where knowing Jesus and understanding Him and how He works in your life is appreciated, because on days like this, you just simple words as Lord, give me the strength, go a very long way. Now, when you tell the Lord to give you strength, it's not an energy drink. It's not like you finna just drink an energy drink or a 5-hour shot or something like that, and then all of a sudden you just got all this energy and you just ripping and running. You're like, oh, I can just take on a whole nother 24 hours. No. The energy that He gives you is the will to complete the task. So you may still feel tired, but you notice, even in the midst of feeling tired, you're getting stuff done. You're still cooking dinner. You're still washing clothes. You're still able to, clean your kitchen, do your hair, get your clothes ready, whatever it is that you do. You're able to do it. And then when you complete all your tasks at the end of the night, when you take your shower, bed, whatever your, bedtime regimen is, and you lay down, you're not sore. You're not aching, and you're not restless. That's because you had the strength of the Holy Spirit in order to keep you going. Um, I think a lot of times as Christians or followers, we take for granted those words, Lord, give me strength. We take for granted what that strength is and what that looks like. And we complain, we meaning me, about everything we have to do. We get all in our mind and in our head, and we complain and complain and complain. But then when it's all said and done, it's done. We did it. We got it over with. We've checked those boxes. And the only reason why we were able to complete all those tasks that we had before us was because of the strength that was provided to us from the Holy Spirit. And when you have that relationship and that bond with Jesus, to be able to speak, Lord, give me strength, and it comes, and you are able to do the things that you just didn't seem like it was possible for you. Oh, I'm just not going to be able to get it all done. I'm so tired. I'm this and that. But you're still doing it. Even when you're saying those words, you're still doing it. That's because the strength that the Lord has given you, the mercy and grace that the Lord has provided. Let's talk a little bit about that. I am a advocate for God's mercy and grace because He has provided that to me on numerous occasions, even when I didn't deserve it, even when I know that the situation I was in was 90% my fault. um, he didn't let that stop me. As a parent, we're always teaching our kids, right? We're teaching them right from wrong, and then Sometimes they'll do something that's just not okay. And then we'll discipline for it, or we'll let them suffer like, that's what you get. You shouldn't have did that. But then at some point, you let them go long enough to learn a lesson. And then you get to a point to where you slow down and say, okay, I think they've learned their lesson, and you help them out. Well, I've noticed something, and I've changed up a little bit of my parenting because of my relationship with God. And the reason is because I noticed that, I made some major mistakes in my life. And when God gave me mercy and he gave me grace, and I will explain the difference between the two very shortly, he didn't sit back and watch me suffer. He didn't sit back and say, that's what you get. Now you got to go through it. He guided me. He gave me comfort. He gave me relief. So who am I to decide how long or when or if someone, including my children, should suffer at my hand because of a mistake that they're made? So, I started exercising the use of compassion in order to activate the use of mercy and grace whenever I'm dealing with people, because we're not entitled to it. We haven't did anything on the level of Jesus Christ to say that, you know what, you deserve mercy, you deserve grace during this period of time. So, you hear those used in combination, mercy and grace, right? So let's kind of get a little unorthodox background of what that means when you're walking on a spiritual journey. Mercy is in the midst of pain, unfortunately. So pain is a physical thing, and it's can be driven from emotion, a heartache. Those are physical pains that you can't see. They have been brought on by something that happened to you. Either you broke up with someone, or you realize that, the relationship you're in is no longer going to work, or you got into a real bad argument with your friend or parent or someone you love. But heartache comes from a disconnect between you and one you love. And it's not a disconnect that is reconnected or even mended easily, if at all. And during those times, the pain can be so unbearable to the point where you're like, Lord, I know that I did this. I know that I caused this, but have mercy on me. Meaning, Lord, lift this pain off me. Help me I've realized what I've done, and I realize how much pain I've caused me or how much pain I've caused someone else. But the agony is too much for me. So guess what? When you ask God to have mercy on you, where does the pain go? If we think scientifically wise, they say, energy is not destroyed, it's just transferred, right? So where are we transferring that pain back to? Most of us will probably say, well, well, it just go back to where it came from. It's like, no, it didn't, because it came from you. So in order for him to have mercy on you, that means that the affliction that was once yours is now his. So Jesus Christ, yet again, is going through another painful situation. He's taking that pain on your behalf, either via Holy Spirit or via, angels, or via himself. He's taken that pain off for you, and he's held it and retained it within him so that you won't hurt, so that you will have some sense of peace about yourself. Now, grace a little more grace. You know, I like to think of grace as a form of patience. I like to think of grace as an opportunity for growth. Um, Grace comes in hand when you're in trouble and you don't know how to get out of it, or you don't have a way out. And everything you see coming your way is coming. It's coming big, it's coming strong, and it's coming hard. But that grace, that grace allowed all that you thought was going to happen in like the next hour, days, 2 weeks, months, years has now been removed because of grace. In other words, when your kid did something and he thought or she thought that they was finna have to be grounded for the rest of their life, but they happened to do it on a day that you are too tired to argue with them, you too tired to go down the disciplinary route with them, to even have the talk with them, you gave them grace. You're like, you know what? I'm not gonna deal with this today. Nope. Not gonna do it. Instead, I'm going to go to my room. I'm going to go into my sacred place of peace, and we're gonna deal with this another day. And when the day comes that you actually deal with the problem, it wasn't as bad as they thought it was gonna be. So that's what grace does. Grace makes things a lot less difficult to handle than it would had you not known Jesus. So when you ask God, and like I said, a lot of times mercy and grace are used together because most of the time they go together. Because most of the time, many times, if you've done something that caused you pain, most likely it's because of something that's putting you in trouble and you can't see your way out of it. You can't take back what you said. You can't take back what you did. And you are wanting it to stop. You need it to stop because it can only get worse from here. So God allows grace and mercy to come in and protect you or prevent you or ease that pain from you. Now, with that being said, I'm also a strong believer in not taking for granted mercy and grace, because I think a lot of us do. And why I say that is because a lot of us, for example, you get a ticket, or you get pulled over for speeding, and you manage to get out of a ticket, right? After you do it a couple of times, now you think you're an expert at knowing how to get out of a ticket. No, you're not an expert. You've just had a lot of grace and mercy on your side for quite some time. So don't ever think that, it's important to stay humble, to be reminded that mercy and grace, it lives in our everyday life. Uh, Convincing someone to, kids love to think they can convince teachers to give them additional time to turn in their assignments. That's mercy and grace. You don't get written up at work for being late, even though you've been late every single day for the last 2 months. That's mercy and grace. Don't take it for granted. Don't take it for granted, and don't discount what it means, because it does mean something. And it's important that you know that that's a part of building a relationship with Jesus is, because you are having a relationship with him and you are opening up your heart to him, he's going to protect it and he's going to protect you. But just stay humble during that process, because if everything can run out, unfortunately. So you want to be mindful of that and keep your peace. Appreciate the will of God, the strength of God, and the mercy and grace he provides us. So hopefully that helps someone today.